why TBC? What's the deal? Now, this may come off as ABC to some of you boxing fans out there, but I really think Deontay Wilder really needs to work that jab in his fight with Povetkin. I know Deontay Wilder is a knockout artist. He's knocked out everybody he's fought except Bermane Stiverne hasn't made it to the final bell. And I understand that. And a power is a good equalizer to have, especially at the heavyweight division. But a punch I think Deontay Wilder, a punch that he's gotten better at, and a punch I think he really needs to key on and focus on, is using his jab against Povetkin. Not just to keep Povetkin at bay, but to keep Povetkin second guessing himself, reluctant to dart in, because sometimes Povetkin will be on the outside, and if his footwork and moving his head doesn't necessarily get him in on the inside, sometimes he does this little maneuver, and he does it in a lot of his fights where he'll paw with his jab, and then he'll dart in really quick. He likes to dart in, and he'll kind of dart in low and crouching, and he likes to come in with, power shots. So I think Deontay Wilder not only is going to have to, utilize his jab, is a lot of feints and doubling and tripling up of the jab. And the jab doesn't necessarily have to land, right on Povetkin's nose. I mean, the jab can land on the forehead. The jab can land around the throat area, the chest, the shoulders. Just keeping a jab on Povetkin, make him guessing and turn Povetkin. I know Wilder has a tendency sometimes when he's fighting against an orthodox guy, he'll circle to his left, which is the right hand of the orthodox fighter. So I want to see Deontay Wilder mix up his rhythms, not just circle to the left or pull straight back, because if Povetkin sees that, he's going to cover ground with his footwork and he's going to close the gap if he sees Deontay Wilder just walking back. Because punches like that, if Deontay's trying to walk back and punch him at the same time, unless Deontay Wilder hits a lot harder than I assume or think that he does, I don't think those punches, when you're going back on your back foot, is going to be enough to necessarily keep Povetkin off of him. But it could. I've seen a lot of boxers fight off their back foot and use those punches to win fights. But it seemed like Deontay Wilder gets majority of his concussive powers when he's sitting down on his punches, and the punches you don't see coming, a la Artur Szpilka. So Povetkin, I think, is going to, crowd Deontay Wilder's space, but the punch, I think, is going to be effective. And I can say this for damn near any heavyweight, man, but especially tall heavyweights with long reaches, is use your jab. Make this shit easy. I know Wilder's a power puncher, but you're not going to knock everybody out. I think his jab he has a very good jab when he's throwing it, but I want to see him tripling up the jab, feints, turning. I don't want him to turn into Muhammad Ali in his fight, but just be the big man. You can be Lennox Lewis. Use your jab, use your size, use your reach. Because Vladimir Klitschko used that against Povetkin. He also used clinching him and holding him on the inside. But I think Deontay Wilder, he doesn't come across like a clincher and a holder. I think Deontay, like I've said before, he has fight in him, man. All these guys have fight in them. They're fighters. But I mean, he's the type of guy that he'll rather fight and go out like that than hold you. Even if it's not even to his own benefit, he seems like he's the type of guy that rather just let his hands go. But a jab is going to be the key. Jab's going to be a key. I know you have a high knockout percentage, but you're going to have to use the jab, man. Povetkin just isn't your normal plotter. I know some pro Wilder fans, they don't think much of Povetkin, but I'm not that foolish not to think much of Povetkin. Even if Wilder does beat him, Povetkin is nobody to take lightly. This dude's a Olympian. I mean, he's been thrown in there tough his whole career. But I think the jab is going to be the punch that Deontay Wilder should really work on. And I think it's a punch that it will set up all the powers. It will set everything else up. And it will make Povetkin reluctant. Now, Povetkin can move his head. He can slip these jabs, man. And if it's a jab that's not hurting him, like I said, he'll dart right in on you. But I think Wilder should focus on his jab more so than his when to land his straight right hand. The jab's going to set everything up. Especially against a guy like Povetkin. Szpilka's kind of different because he was kind of, hanging out on the outside, trying to counter and wing shots and jump in like that. Whereas Povetkin really just likes to come forward. But he does it in his own strategic way. He isn't some journeyman plotter. So, but I think the jab will work Deontay Wilder wonders in this fight. If he uses it and uses it the right way, it'll set everything else up. YTBC, I'm out.